All right, man.
He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolutely Jason Stuart. I'm incredibly excited to finally get one of my newest, dearest friends, and I say that with great love. ESTHER SCOTT, welcome to the show. We met. I always start off the show because almost everybody on the show is either people that I work with or people that I love or people that I've met them all. Very rarely do I have anybody on the show that I don't know or haven't worked with. I was doing a play 6 years ago written by Susan Rubin called Above the Line.
Susan Rubin. I'm sorry. I know Susan.
You know, of course you do. And starring myself and a lovely actress named Denise Dowse. And you came to see the play with another woman who I don't remember, and you were so sweet and so supportive, and I just remembered your spirit and your aura, but of course forgot your name because I'm too self-involved. And then I met you on the set of The Birth of a Nation. We were both sort of crossing paths one day, and you were sitting with a lot of the kids who played slaves in the film, which are now all my Facebook friends. And isn't that funny? All my slaves are my Facebook friends. Boy, a couple hundred years, things have really changed. And then we, I guess, reconnected when we actually went to the screening at, I think it was CAA, was it not? To see The Birth of a Nation. And we both had this incredible experience. Esther has had a long, varied career, wonderful veteran actress in so many things that we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about A Birth of a Nation first. So we were sitting there. You play Nate Parker's grandmother in the film. Nate Parker plays Nat Turner. Nate Turner is the writer, producer, director of the film. Nat Turner is the man who he plays, who started the rebellion in 1831. And I play a plantation owner, Joseph Randall. You play as the grandmother, Bridget Turner. And which is interesting, British, what a British name, you know, Bridget, or Scottish, right?
I think
Scottish, yeah, which is really sort of interesting to begin with.
Well, you know, where did we get our names from? We were named.
Exactly. Now, so was your character in the film an American, or she came from Africa?
She came from the old land.
She did, but she was very young, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was a baby.
Well, no, because she talks about Nat's grandfather seeing him die rather than coming here.
Oh, wow. But she had no accent, though.
What kind of accent did you want her to have?
No, I don't know. What accent would she have had if she came from Africa?
Well, you know, by the time that we see her, she's been here a long time.
Right, so the reason I asked that is because I think that the interesting choice is that she was stripped of all of her culture, of all of where she came from, of her family, of everything, and that's I think almost encouraged not to. I would think not to have any connection to that. And what's interesting about A Birth of the Nation, among other films about slavery or about that time in history, is that it has a very poeticness about it and about Africa. And there's a lot of in the beginning of the film, there's a lot of culturalistic things, dance, music, that are still brought into the film at the beginning. I thought was incredibly moving and gave you some context to where the people had come from and how the people had really tried so hard not to let go of who they were. Now, what was the experience of seeing the film like? Because it was quite an emotional day. Oh yeah. It was like we all sat there. It was this. We were like, I mean, I was like totally blown away. I was out of my body almost.
I'm trying to decide whether it's smart for me to be completely honest in this moment, but I'll tell you that I was very affected by it. I spent some time in the beginning of the film watching the edits of my character.
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah, first thing you're watching as an actor, and people at home don't know that, first thing you're watching, was I cut? What coverage? How were they shooting me? What shots did they pick? What was cut out? What was still in there? And oh my God, I look so terrible. I look so old.
Well,
because they made us all look really bad.
Once, I don't know. I don't think I look that bad. But I digress. I was kidding. Because I had very little makeup.
Oh,
so,
none.
And
Not
it was
every makeup-
so hot.
And it was like Africa.
So I really was drenched. In every scene you'll see, I'm just like
Sweating.
like someone's pouring water over my head.
And nobody
But
wiped us and said, "Hey, they let us stay looking
that's the
bad."
way it was.
That's what I thought was so great about the film too.
But you know what? I settled in because it is such a powerful film, and somewhere I realized that the cuts of my scenes were because what was cut was more character driven, about my specific character, and the time that it gave the film to really tell the story was more important. And so I relaxed into, as much as you can relax watching a film of this nature, I was weeping throughout the last half of the film. And I came out of it feeling proud to be a part of it. In pain because of the truth of it. And just very moved. And then I saw you. You looked like you couldn't talk.
I was completely blown away. And as I've said before on this show, I totally forgot that I was a part of what happened that was so bad, because my ego as an actor I was so used to being cut out of things or cut down or marginalized, and in some way, and to let folks know, this is a lean, mean hour and 50-minute film. So the reason you said movie, because it is a movie, it's very American, whereas people are comparing it to 12 Years a Slave, which is a very European film in terms of nature, the way it's shot, the long pastoral shots, everything being so long. This film really moves. You're done before you. It doesn't have, and there's some humor in it. There's some happiness and beautiful things in it too, and some absolutely horrific.
A lot of beauty.
Yes.
I love the fact that Nate had this balance between, and some incredibly just gorgeous scenes, and then contrasted to the brutality.
Oh, it's just the way I felt when I was in Savannah for the 3 weeks I was there. I felt like this is such a beautiful place, but the trees. What do you call those trees?
Oh, you see, I went through the same thing.
Oh, I thought those trees.
I couldn't enjoy being in this beautiful town because every time I looked at a tree, the first thing I thought was, how many people were hung from that tree?
And the trees were crying. They called them. They have. There's a certain term they call these trees where the branches and the leaves
hang down,
over in this sad way. It's almost like saying, we're sorry. It's like they're crying because they're so sorry. So there's a sadness of being in there. But just the epic portion. I remember, walking over to you. You were like the first person I saw after the movie, and I remember I just took you in my arms, and I was like, even now I think about it, just so many levels. Remember, I felt so grateful to be in the movie, and so and almost shocked that I still was in the movie, that you hadn't cut my part.
Couldn't cut you.
Yeah, but you never know. There's a lot of people who film can be cut in a million different ways, and then also so moved to be involved in such a brilliant piece of work that is going to stand, I think, for the rest of our lives. It'll
if
say,
I never do another,
it'll say ESTHER SCOTT, Birth of a Nation, Transformers.
If I never worked again,
yeah,
I can be happy.
Oh, me
Not
too.
that I'm saying I don't want to work again. Hello out there.
Right.
But if to go out on a movie like this, I couldn't be sad.
What was your audition process for the film? Just a call from an agent? Did you work to get
The agent called me. I showed up at the audition, and a friend of mine was there, and we were sitting there talking, and I was telling her that when I read the script, that I saw her in the role. And she said, "That's so funny, because I saw you in the role." And I went in and read for the casting director, and got a call not too much later and said, "You got it." I was stunned.
They put you on tape and you got it, and you never met Nate?
No.
Wow.
No. I didn't see Nate until my first day
Wow.
on set.
That's extraordinary. How easy is that? So that shows that everything that you are, and we've talked about this because we've had a lot of conversations on the phone lately, everything that you are, and I say that on my show, in public, everything that you are as an actor showed up that day and was exactly what he was looking for. Isn't that just the most beautiful thing?
It is.
But we forget that sometimes, and I say this quote quite a bit, Laurence Olivier said in his book, the worst thing to do is to show up and for people not to see who you are.
Oh, I love that.
And I think I paraphrased it to make it better, but but that's what I think is, because that's, I felt not seen. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Esther Scott, one of the stars of the film Birth of a Nation, and we'll be right back. Please don't change that channel. Oh my God, we don't have channels anymore.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Dee Dee from Lady Pants, and you're watching the 10 women who are killing it in comedy. Here is number 3. Carrie Brownstein, a feminist musician, a sketch comedian, Fred Armisen's best friend, and a bisexual who doesn't feel the need to define herself by her sexuality. What more could we ask for? She and Steve Buscemi definitely share the award for most fascinating teeth, but I think I could give her a run for her money. But her gentle, character-driven take on life in Portland, Oregon warms the heart and tickles the LOL bone. Carrie, can we be besties? We promise we'll bring something to the table. How about a grass-fed, cruelty-free pigeon milk latte? Let's do number 4.
Hey, this is Minnie from Lady Pants, and you are watching the top 10 women who are killing it in comedy right now. Ready for number 2? Cameron Esposito. God damn, this girl is not afraid to say what she thinks. She's built an entire career out of it. She gets mad. Mad at injustices, mad at hypocrisies, mad at just idiots that don't know how to drive right. And she turns all of her mad into poignant and well thought out, hilarious social commentary. You actually feel smarter after laughing your ass off during one of her stand-up sets. She's also a lesbian, and a damn fine one too, if I may say so myself. Her hair is always shaved and lopsided and perfectly coiffed, and her style game is strong. It doesn't hurt that she's Latina as well. Cameron, keep doing what you're doing, girl. It's working.
Let's watch number 3.
So what's really interesting, we were talking during the break about the film, is that I think so little was written about black people at that time, and it's also not, especially by actual black people.
Exactly.
So that Nat Turner, I believe, is the first African American person to fight against the white slave owners, me, that was documented.
Mm-hmm.
And the first documentation was done by a white person.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different point of view. certainly. And then Nate did, and his partner who wrote it, French name, I can't say it, very difficult to say, and I'm not going to say it terribly wrong, so I'm not going to say it at all, but a lovely man. But they did 7 years of research to figure out where the fuck these people came from and how to get a real story from a black point of view, which I so love.
Did an amazing job of
How
it.
many times do you see him? One of my favorite stories in history was Medgar Evers. I thought, people don't talk enough about him. And when they did the film about him, and I love Rob Reiner, but to do a film about the lawyer who fought the case and not about the wife, never mind even Medgar, because it really wasn't about Medgar, it's about his wife. It's about the story about his wife and how she fought to find out, to get this guy in jail who murdered her husband.
Well, because it was a vehicle for
a white guy, which is another interesting subject to talk about. So the times are, every time we say, hey, this movie is made at the right time, my God, everything that's happening certainly says that this is the right film to see, to educate people on history and where everything has come from. And I know...
And then one of the things that I love about this film is that it's not just a retelling of slavery.
Not at all.
The slavery story. It is also a call to action, which is very much needed right now in our nation.
And Nate says very specifically,
And not a call to action, let me make
not
clear,
violence.
not violence.
Yes, he's been very, very clear about
Yes.
that. And I think
Call to action, and action can take so many different forms, and people have access. I mean, people can be active in the way that is comfortable for them, and so everybody can do something. And it's just one of the things I love about the way he's explained that when he talks to people about the film, is that everybody can contribute to change in this nation without calling forth for an actual physical, violent revolt.
definitely.
We can
And
all be a part of the solution.
He said something at the LA Film Festival, which we both went to. There was a Q&A with some clips from the film, and he said 3 things that I thought were really very powerful. He said, my Jewish friends said about the Holocaust, never again. The LGBT community said, silence equals death when AIDS came through. And the black community was told, get over it. And I thought, wow. So what we're saying is that no time to grieve about this, no time to figure out what happened to us and how it bled into our lives in 2016.
Well, one of the wonderful things,
It's
one of
okay.
the wonderful things about, people say, I have a friend, African-American woman, and she wrote on Facebook, oh God, another slave movie.
I've heard that a couple times, yeah.
And one of the reasons I have no problem with retelling this story, because it's not one story, there are many stories. But when you hear somebody say, oh, why can't you just get over it? People who say that need to really understand what that it is.
Well, if
that
somebody
we're
said that
trying
to
to
my
get
father
over.
and he was in the Holocaust, I always say not the camps but the ghettos. My father would say, you do not understand. You do not know where we come from. Never forget this. Always know that this is who you are. He would say that to me all the time, and I never forgot that.
And the fact that experience...
It's a part of who I am.
Exactly. That experience is part of who we are.
And what I took it from is to not just stand up for Jews, but to stand up for anybody, to never again for anyone. So if you hear about Rwanda, you hear about Darfur, the minute it's a third world country or it's a cultural country that isn't, how do you say it, that isn't the way we live our lives, what's the term for that? That it isn't, this capitalistic society, that they have a different way of living. We as Americans seem to think that everybody wants to be us, which I think is wrong. No, we don't. And we may not like the way someone wants to live, or we may love it but not want to live there, or we may think it's terrific but it's not our thing, or whatever it is. People should have the right to live their life in the way that is right for them.
With their own beliefs.
Exactly.
Their own
As long as you're not
cosmology.
hurting anybody, or not hurting someone else, or letting someone. So to be clear about that, so people don't write a million things to me. Yes, if a woman is forced to wear a beekeeper outfit for her whole life and doesn't want to do it, she should be allowed to choose not to, without their community stoning her to death or doing something, just as heinous.
And I want African American. I want my nephew's 13. I want, kids to see it because I want them to not look at slavery as this thing that happened a long time ago. I want them to see that there is genetics. There's coding to what happened. Those experiences are passed on to generations. There are beliefs that come out of being an oppressed people that will continue to oppress those people.
I think that your nephew's generation is almost the first, to not be as ruined by this. I hate to use that word, but that's where I think of it. I think of the teenagers now. They seem to have, and we sort of hate them for it. Have no connection to history and all
that
this
was
stuff.
then, this is now.
Yes, and I think
why do you guys keep just going on and on and on about it?
Right, there is a positive to that it's not who they are. That is the positive take from it. But I do think there's, as long as we're still alive, there has to be respect for what we've been through and where we're at, so they can understand.
But that's what I'm saying is, it's not just what slaves went through. One of the effects of slavery that is still around today is that, I used to always talk about this, when white people are bringing up their children, they encourage them to explore and travel and see the world. Black kids were taught, don't go out of the neighborhood, it's dangerous out there.
My Jews were taught, why do you have to go all the way to Holland to do a comedy festival? But it's so far.
So we would deny.
You could get hurt. Who are these people? That's what my father used to say. Why do you have to go so far? They were always afraid that something would happen to us.
This is one example of denying ourselves access to the larger world out there.
Seeing what's out there so we can explore a bigger self.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've had a very wonderful career, I think. And I want to show some photos. Tell me what these are from. I want to talk about some of the other projects that you've been involved in. So show us a couple photos just from the first set. What's this from?
I think it's from Don Juan DeMarco.
Oh, my God. With Faye Dunaway and Marlon Brando?
Yes.
Who did you work
Johnny
with?
Depp.
Johnny Depp.
I worked with mostly Marlon.
Wow. I did not know that. Is there anything you can tell us about him, or he must have been wonderful?
I loved him. But I'll tell you, my only scary moment was the first time first scene I had with him.
Marlon
was,
Brando.
Marlon
for people who don't know his name, Jesus.
Marlon Brando didn't learn lines at that time in his career. He would sort of take a look at what the scene was about, and then he'd go forth. And I'm excited. I'm working with Marlon Brando. And Johnny Depp and Faye Dunaway. And so I'm like, okay, do I respond to what he just said, or do I say the lines that are written in the script?
The director didn't say to you, "This is going to happen. Go for it."
That director aged 10 years during filming. Marlon, but at the same time, Marlon had this sign outside of his trailer that said, "Don't knock, just walk right in."
Oh my God!
He would come to the set and he would keep us. Another reason that the director was aged 10 years, but he would come and he'd do magic tricks for us, and he'd tell jokes and entertain us. He was just one of the most loving, and I learned. And he was a teacher. Remember one of the things he said. Whenever you start a scene, always have a piece of business to bring yourself.
You know
into
who
the
that
scene.
is? You know who that's from? Stella Adler, and who I learned through Nina Foch. Always have a hot prop.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that always too?
Yes, I do.
I do it as much as I can. Even if I can't, if I don't use it, I still think I got
I find something.
Yeah, so do I.
So, it was an amazing experience. And then, of course, after I said, okay, I can't stay with the lines as they're written and still, it wouldn't make any sense. And so I wound up having these great scenes with him just improvising.
Oh, man.
Now, of course, a lot of it was cut, but I still. It was.
Who was the director? Do you remember the name?
No.
Don't worry. But
I can see his face.
I'll look it up. If
Okay.
you have a chance to look up John DeMarco, the film with Johnny Depp.
And like
tell us who the
Nate
director
Parker, he had that script for years. and his request was that he be able to direct it, and so he wouldn't let the film be made until he was allowed to direct it.
Beautiful film, I thought.
It was.
And I love the relationship between Faye and Marlon in the film.
Oh my, that scene in the bed with the popcorn.
Oh, it's just heaven.
And the
Heaven.
dancing.
Just, and she was so good in it. People forget. Show us another picture.
Okay, that was McBride.
Oh, so one of the Hallmark films.
Yes.
That was with John Larroquette, right?
I love that outfit. Yes.
I'm
He starred and directed it.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh, he's terrific. I actually auditioned at ABC with him the same day we did Scenes, and he became a big star, and I became a big nothing. It was just really...
I loved working with him, but I'll tell you, well, this is not important, but I laughed when I saw that because right after that I was leaving. I had just finished my final scene, and I was in the witness box, and I said, that's a wrap for Esther, and I stood up, and people were applauding, and I said my little bow.
So those that say that at the end of a movie, usually the AD on the film, assistant director, will say, "That's a wrap for Esther Scott." When you're done, or last day of shooting, people,
I turn around to go step down off the witness stand, and there was an apple box there that flipped over, and I wound up completely tearing my quadriceps.
Oh no!
I was laid up for about a year. But so that's
so
why
every
I
time
laughed.
you see that, that's what you think of.
that.
Right before the good thing. Right before the good thing. Okay, show us another picture.
Ah, yes. I caught a lot of grief for this was Species.
Oh, that was with Sharon Stone.
No.
Oh, no, Species. No, that was it was the big
the alien
movie, right?
Yes. And I got a lot of grief from my friends because there's a scene in there I get killed because the young girl transforms into this creature, and she's in a car in the train. Yes. Jeremy
Levin is the director
man.
of John DeMarco. For those at home don't know, he just put that up on the screen for us to see. So we just don't think that we're crazy people.
I step in. The little girl is traveling by herself, and I go into her car and I to see how she's doing, and I see all this mess, and so I walk in a little further to see what's going on, and I see this big monster-like thing growth covering one whole side of the car, and I start walking towards it, and all my friends say, "Now a black woman would not have walked towards it."
Well, I want to say right now, this is said so much that black people in horror films will run the other way. Well, so will Jewish gay guys. That's all I have to say. I watch these horror films or these thrillers all the time. Why does someone stumble and wait and think about what to do? Who thinks? When you fall, you get up and you run. This is, I don't know. And there is the history of course, the Asian person is going to get killed first, then the black people, then the older woman. No one gets to live except skinny white people.
I argued with the director. I said, this is not correct. I mean, I wouldn't do that.
I don't think anybody would do it.
No, and he said, no, we're going to fix it with timing and speed and this and that. I said, yeah, look. I said, okay. And then when I saw the film, I said, I was right.
Like you had the control. That's what I love. Friends will say, why did you do that? Well, maybe because they paid me, and it's a big movie, and it changed my career.
It's what had to happen.
Like there's been a lot of kickback to Leslie Jones for her work in Ghostbusters.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen the film. I think she's wonderful in it. They're all just as crazy characters.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why she was...
I think it's really unfair that people are beating up on her just because she's a black woman. And I think that
Ernie Hudson didn't get any grief when he did it.
Exactly. And he plays, I guess I could say it now. He plays her uncle in the film, or her dad. I'm not sure.
Nice.
Ernie and I have the same publicist. That's why I got to go to the premiere.
Ah.
Yeah. Show us another picture, sir. This is a play.
Oh, God, I love this play. No, it's a play. One Woman, Two Lives. But Denise Dowse directed it.
Oh, lucky you.
A mutual friend. And I loved doing that play. I was because I played this very holy, sanctimonious woman who was like, the head of in the church.
Is this part of it too?
Yeah, I think that we were backstage at a party or something. And this guy comes along and she starts flirting. She starts flirting with him. So it was a heavy drama,
Oh, wow.
but I got to do a lot of comedy, which I
Oh, here's another one.
love to
Who's
do.
that? What's this?
Oh,
Dear God.
my sister's keeper, Eric Roberts. Remember I told you that I'd
Who's
worked
on
with
the
him?
show? Here's the show next.
Yes, this, Mama Pines.
Go to the next one.
I just jumped up out of a wheelchair. Everybody thought I was crippled. So
Oh, really?
That moment is like.
So maybe this made up for Species. Jesus. So there's a lot of pressure on, I think, on black people in terms of having a career and being able to work. And I, as a gay person, especially when I was younger and I first came out, had to play certain kind of roles a certain way, and I always did it in the most empowering way. I said, I'm not going to turn down the part. I'm going to find a way to make that work, and make a living, and show up and survive this rather than let it beat me down.
Well, I had an audition recently, and they wanted the angry black woman. And I said, there are other ways to. She was a homeless person,
Mm-hmm.
and I said there are other ways for this character to play this, and I knew what they wanted, and it's always so funny when, not necessarily this particular audition, but throughout the years of when people are trying to solicit that angry black woman or that stereotype. That they'll say, oh, could you be a little more urban? Or could you be a little more, I don't know, moody? Or could you be a little more ethnic? Or could you be a little more... I said, well, why don't you just say it? Do you want the angry black woman? And, I don't fault anyone who does what they need to do to get work, because everybody has to eat and have a roof over their heads. But I've always trusted that spirit will take care of me, and that I don't have to... do something that's going to make me feel like I'm doing a disservice to myself or to my people or just to humanity. And I also have learned that when you do that, early in my career, I remember I was working on a TV show, and I felt like I wasn't protecting myself in that way, and I was miserable. And so I said, never again. My truth will be my truth, and if this is not what they want, then I'll just have to give it to someone else.
But Species, I think, is a perfect example. You said, hey, this is not the way it would work. You said what you tried to say.
That was one of them.
You tried, it didn't work, but you tried, and you're still in this great movie where you still get all these residual checks. And okay, so it wasn't perfect. You tried, the next one will be better. And that's the way it is with everything, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a break here on Absolutely Jason Stuart. We'll be back in just a second with my pal, ESTHER SCOTT, and we're going to be talking more Birth of a Nation, more everything. I want to hear about Heart of Dixie. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Hanny from Lady Pants, and you're watching the top 10 women who are killing it in comedy. Let's do number 4. Tegan and Sara. Speaking of musicians, adore a talented Canadian twinsies, Tegan and Sara are quietly killing it all over the place. On Snapchat, in the recording studio, and on the awards circuit. They've got a Grammy nom under their belt as well as major commercial success. And while they're not technically comedians, this indie dance duo is friggin' hilarious on social media, and they are worth a follow just for their weird homemade cat videos.
The list doesn't stop here. Watch the next video. Hey, this is Minnie from Lady Pants. You are watching the top 10 women who are killing it in comedy. Let's do number 5. Tig Notaro. Okay, so Tig is a les who is happily out, who has survived cancer and doesn't rely on any tricks to get you to laugh. She's just funny. Everything about her is funny. And she's a cancer survivor. But she almost didn't survive. She was like really sick. But she's okay! And she made a movie about it, and it is beautiful and touching. And she's a real human being. And she loves her wife, Stephanie Allen, and she somehow survived Not only cancer, but being from the South. And she was a high school dropout, and she was cast off by her parents for being gay, but she still managed to figure out how to be herself and have a happy life. And the fact that she is so open and honest in her comedy has really carved a pathway for younger lesbians and comedians alike. You know you want to see who else we like. Watch the next video.
Hey, we're back at Absolutely Jason Stuart with my friend actress ESTHER SCOTT, and I want to talk about
ESTHER SCOTT. Yes,
because I'm thinking about. I think too fast. I'm thinking about Heart of Dixie. That was your last big thing, which was a series.
Was my last long-running thing.
That's what I meant in terms of series. How did that come about? Were you a series regular, or did you guest star on it and become a series regular? I'm always fascinated by that, because the hardest thing to do is to get into the club of people that get on series. It's almost like a club to go from being a guest starring actor to be a gal that does movies. It's like now I feel like I'm this guy that does movies. Even though I've done so much episodic TV, I feel like I know I have to. How do you get to go do both and being both clubs? How do you do that?
You take whatever job somebody offers you.
Exactly. Yes. Well, yeah.
In fact, well, yeah.
How about the gay Godfather? Somebody, no, yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Some
I
things you have to
started
say
out.
no.
It started out as very, very tiny role. It was the three old ladies, old lady number 1, old lady number 2, and old lady number 3.
So did you want to do that, or did you just think?
I thought it was a gig, and I liked this. The when I read the script, I thought it was cute.
Was it on the WC?
Yeah, WB.
WC?
WB.
No,
WC.
no, WB. Yeah.
WC.
I think it's
WC.
CW.
CW.
I don't know.
Okay, this is bad.
It's sad that neither one of us can remember.
Continue to hire me, even though I can't remember. I think it was CW.
CW.
Okay. So I was auditioning for. I wanted the role of. There was one that was very funny. She was like the leader of the gang of these 3 old ladies, but they cast me as the not the most timid, but sort of in the middle. And I'm sorry, it's just that over the course of time, there was still 3 old ladies, but the third they let go of one of the 3 ladies, and I can't tell you who it was because you know who it is. But they let go of one of the 3 ladies, and they had an extra be the third woman, so she didn't speak. So there were only 2 old ladies speaking. And then somehow or other,
I wound
up being getting a name. I went from just being old lady number whatever it was to being Delma.
So it's really interesting,
Delma
and then you're.
So then I became
you're
sort of a recurring character.
But what's really interesting about that, and I've heard that a lot, and that's the way Henry Winkler, he had like 3 lines
Fonz, right?
on the Fonz. That's a famous story, and that's created by Gary Marshall,
The
who
people,
just passed away.
I just want to I know. That's
Yesterday,
that's a
yeah, God
sadness.
bless him.
Amazing man. The creator of this show is an amazing woman, and I will forever be grateful to her. And she was very dedicated to the show being diverse, and it was the most diverse show on television. They had everything, Asian.
Was it based on the movie The Heart of Dixie that was done around a million years ago with Ali? Because I had not seen this series.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I wondered whether it was, because that was a wonderful film.
But
that Ali
it was
Sheedy
just
in.
really a really amazing place to work, to see in front of the camera, behind the camera, diversity, people enjoying working together. I loved every time I got a call say, "Oh, you're working next week." I was like, "Oh, yay!"
So you got to work with Will Smith
Oh yeah, yes,
on In the Pursuit of Happiness.
yes,
Oscar-nominated actor.
yes.
Did you guys know how?
And Jaden,
Oh, his son.
who was the most delightful young man at that time. I remember for my first day on the set, he came over and he was a little kid, and he came over and said, "Hi, my name is Jaden. I just wanted to welcome you to the set." It's like, "Thank you."
What'd you play in the film?
I ran. They were homeless, and they were looking for a shelter, and I ran a shelter.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I remember it was an Italian director.
He's
Can't
wonderful.
pronounce his name.
Wonderful director. He also did the 7 Pounds, which I loved.
I can't pronounce it, but I remember I had some trouble understanding his direction. And so I said to Will, I don't know if I should be telling this story.
Please.
I said to Will, how do you do it? How do you understand what he's saying? He said, Jaden told me, "Dad, if you don't understand, just nod." He said, "If you're not doing it right, he'll tell you again, and eventually you'll get it."
Wow.
I love that.
So Dreamgirls, Bill Condon.
Oh, God, what a cast.
Everybody
What a
wanted
cast,
to be
what
in
a cast.
Dreamgirls. Come on.
Tell me how shocked I was when my agent called me and told me I got that.
How shocked were you?
I couldn't talk. And I thought he was kidding me, actually. I said, "This is a cruel joke." And he said, "Honey, you got it." And, oh, man, I have so many, oh, God, there's so many wonderful stories about that cast, because mostly everybody was so really wonderful.
Broadway people, a lot.
Beyonce, first day I went on the set, this little woman comes and steps up to me with curlers in her hair and no makeup, and I'm like, "Oh," she says, "Hi, I'm Beyonce, and I just wanted to welcome you. Really glad to have you here." It's like, "Oh, here."
And you went, "Sasha Fierce?" Oh, there you are.
Oh, yes. Yes, Eddie Murphy liked to.
Oh my God! So I did not know that was you in the movie. until
Nobody
this moment.
does because of the wig.
The wig, and also there's a whole different look to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and most people don't. I went to see the film, and I was in the movie theater, and I was in the restroom, and all these women were talking about how much they loved the film, and nobody recognized me. I was in the lobby, nobody recognized me, and so finally my niece, it was killing her that no one recognized me, and she says,
She pulled off her wig, put it on you, and said, "This is her."
she just said, "It's so great that you're in this movie." And people were looking around me. They still didn't know who I was.
Well, it's
Which is cool. I said, "It's my acting."
and you also there's another film, Goldmember, the Austin Powers film.
God, that was a trip. They
What'd
were
you play in
funny.
that?
Part of the international. I was the head judge, I guess you'd call it, magistrate, the chief magistrate for the
Were you
World
British?
Tribunal. I think they had me Jamaican,
Oh wow!
British Jamaican,
Ew,
so that I could.
excuse me. Oh my God!
Yes.
He is too good. You are so much thinner now, honey.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, I was so much younger then.
What was it like to work with Mike Myers?
Oh God, the man is funny as hell. It was hard not to laugh.
Really creative, I've heard.
Oh.
Always open to improv. Always open to being in the
Now
moment.
you want to talk about improv though? Jim Carrey.
Fun with Dick and Jane.
Wow. There was some takes he would just do, and you know what? It wasn't like. I remember when I was doing Species, the director Roger. Whatever.
I'm trying to look up directors' names for you. So the
Roger
director of In the Pursuit of Happiness was Gabriel Macunio.
I could never pronounce his last name.
Well, no, I can't either. So that's him, just to give him some.
But I
credit.
just remember there was a scene where the woman was stepping off the train, and we must have done it, 30 times, 30 takes. Okay, when Jim Carrey would redo something, you didn't even, they were counting because they needed to know, but it didn't matter because every single time he would do something different, and every time it was hilarious.
Inspiring.
I said, where does he come up with this stuff?
Yeah,
So,
very, very
yeah.
inspiring actor, not just comedically, but also dramatically. I
And-
think
and-
his
and-
commitment to, Man in the Moon
Mm-hmm.
was just, playing
Mhm.
Andy Kaufman was just, like, the fact that he wasn't nominated was a crime.
I know, I agree.
So let's go back to Sundance this year, January 2016. You and I are sitting in the theater. Gabby Union is in front of us. Coleman Domingo's on the side of us. Katie Garfield is here. Penelope Ann Miller's over there. Nate, the end of the movie is over. Gabrielle stands up. Gabby stands up. I stand up. You look at me. I don't know if you remember, and you stood up because we were like, and we're like crying, and the whole room, after the end of Birth of a Nation, the room shook. I mean, it was like, yes, kind of a feeling. I felt like someone said that, but I don't think anybody did. Maybe it was me. I don't remember. And we all stood up, and I remember Penelope, Penny's sitting on the end, and she's saying, no one called my name. Should I go up? I said, of course. And I just took her by the hand, and I pulled her up. Yeah, no, don't go on stage.
I was in a panic because I was wearing Uggs.
Snow boots almost.
And I had brought a pair of cute shoes to wear in case, to change into. And somehow someone had kicked them. They were in a little bag, and they got kicked away. And I hear my name called, and I'm feeling under the seats to try to find my shoes. And I can't find them. So, oh, no, I have to go up in front of all of these people in these Uggs. And then I said, oh, to hell with it. You're getting to go up. Go.
Because people don't know how rare it is when they call the supporting cast up on stage.
Oh.
Usually it's just the stars and the
Exactly.
producers. And it wasn't just the supporting cast. It was people who had one line, people who gave money to the film, producers.
The whole family.
I mean, and the night before we had a thing called, the family dinner, Birth of a Nation family dinner, which was, oh man, was that like, I just
had one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. And my little beanie, my little Birth of a Nation beanie.
Can you fit your head in it? I can barely get my head in that.
Okay, I have a big head, but I
So
guess
do I.
not quite as.
Can we show a picture of the two of us at Birth of a Nation in the audience? There's a picture of us sitting in the
Really?
audience at Birth of a Nation, of you and me. Well, that's at the LA Film Festival where we went. You look like this.
Oh, I've
We-
forgotten about
Do
that.
we look like we are brother and sister?
Look at our eyes.
Yes, we look like we look like
Our
we're
smiles.
brother from another mother, sister from another
Clutching
mother.
each other.
Yeah, we were so completely just. What a moment. I was fighting to stay in the moment. Fighting.
I was just trying to take it all
That's
in.
what I
because
mean.
I said I didn't know when I would ever have this experience again.
I want to go back to it. And if those who don't want to see it, you can go online and see it. You can see his speech. Someone photographed it. It's online. Birth of a Nation.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in the moment. And I heard a lot of what he said, but not all of it. And so I went back, and I was so glad that I was able to go back and really take in everything.
It was
that he
powerful,
said.
but it just as powerful as seeing it at the CAA agency in their theater, but very different. Very different to see, because it was more about the audience and the reaction to it. And the
Well, I
way
gotta tell you though, when we saw it at CAA,
it was.
I remember there were these big hulky white guys sitting next to me and
crying, sobbing.
I was hearing this sniffling, and I was like, whoa, whoa. And I looked over, and they were sobbing. And I'm not to say that big hulky white guys can't sob,
But
it just surprised me because of what the movie was about. I don't know. I just didn't anticipate them, and then I realized that almost everybody in there was crying.
Right, David Aiello, am I saying it right? The guy who played Martin Luther King in Selma. He was there at CAA. Do you remember that? He was
do
there and saw
now.
it. He's a friend of Nate Parker's, and he was there. And I thought, oh wow, that's when I started to think, this is big.
So then at Sundance, when everybody, first of all, the standing ovation before the film even started,
Oh, that was crazy.
for Nate. And then, I mean, at the end, just this whoosh of the masses just rising up. I get chills just thinking about it.
And then that party where everybody's calling, trying to get into the party. They're all calling me. And I remember, oh, God, I would have been the person calling. And then all of a sudden I'm at the door and I go, oh, we know you. And they go, letting people in, producer friends of mine that I've worked with for years. It was, and then hanging out with you at the party and hanging out with all the people and just being in this glow of just, God, work well done, work powerful, work. that we can be proud of. It's all the elements have come together in this for us. And we're taking this road together, and I have to say that I'm so glad it's with you.
Thank
I
you,
really
Jason.
am.
You are my new buddy. For those of you out there, no matter how much work I've done, how long I've been in the business, there are times when I can become the tiniest bit insecure.
All of us.
And Jason has held my hand on more than one occasion, and I want to thank you for that, and thank you for having me here, because this is fun.
Fighting to get you here. So if people want to find Esther, you can go to her Facebook page. Please friend her, say hello. She never looks at the page, but she will now.
I do.
Oh, you do now?
I do now.
Okay, good.
Because of you.
October 7th, the movie comes out. That's a Friday. Just for those in Los Angeles, let you know that I will be at the ArcLight, because I'm assuming it's going to be playing there on Friday, October 7th. I'm feeling that I'm going to be there. I'm feeling it, and Esther's going to be there, and she's coming, and we're going to bring all of our friends to that. No?
I'm actually going to be in New York.
Okay, Esther won't be there. She'll be in New York seeing the movie, and she will be at another theater that she will tell you about on her Facebook page, because your high school reunion is on the next day, right?
Yeah, right.
So
a bunch of us are going to go see the film
So she's going to
together.
go see the film in New York. So she's going to be our New York presence, and we are all going to be watching this film at the same time and seeing the world erupt, and hopefully making this probably one of the most hopefully successful films about this
Of all time!
Yes. Yes. If you forget her name and forget everything, just go to jasonstuart.com, Stuart, and I will send you her way. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jason.
Take care, everybody. Until next week.